छोटे बच्चे पे हुआ भयानक वशीकरण।
I love गंजी चुड़ैल।
ये लोगों की भी एक किस्म होती होगी ना, टाइप होती होगी जिन्हें हॉरर पसंद है। कौन से ये लोग हैं? तेरा फेवरेट सीरियल कौन सा? कोई है? कहाँ है? जो मेहंदीपुर बालाजी टेम्पल के ऊपर की गई थी स्टडी, एंड दे क्लेम दैट उनमें भगवान आए हैं। लोग अपने सोफे एडजस्ट कर रहे हैं बट अपने करियर में कोई काम नहीं। You believe in God?
Are we really?
You are going to get cancelled, not me.
No, this will not get me. I don't know. उन्होंने उसको झाड़ू से मारा था, Dutt syndrome, where men feel that they get really anxious and even depressed, मतलब proper clinical depression, because they're scared of losing semen. It's called Dutt syndrome. And
But is it fine to watch gory content?
कि नजर लग जाएगी.
It is this podcast. It's a reply to a lot of these bhutiya podcasts. Right in the beginning, I want to read out some titles of these popular YouTube videos. पंजाब के इन्फ्लुएंसर पर हावी हुई किन्नर की आत्मा, मुंबई के स्कूल के बच्चों पर आज भी होता है काला जादू, छोटे बच्चे पे हुआ भयानक वशीकरण, द्वारका के फ्लैट में लड़की के अंदर आई आत्मा, हिमाचल का सबसे भूतिया पहाड़, भूतों ने बर्बाद किया पूरा परिवार, इस चर्च में शैतान की पूजा. A very warm welcome to this brand new episode of this podcast. With us is Divija Bhasin, counseling psychologist. A very warm welcome.
Thank you for having me.
ये आज हम डिस्कशन करने वाले हैं कि ये क्या हो रहा है ये YouTube podcast scene में. I really wanted to get an expert who understands mental health issues, and the pattern that this amazing equipment that we have here, brain. ये क्या हो रहा है? Why is there a sudden rise in horror podcasts?
I don't think it's sudden. Like, people have always been really interested in things that they don't know much about. Like, horror movies and TV shows are usually about things that we don't know about, like monsters, ghosts, bhutni. हमको नहीं पता भूतनी कौन है.
Do you like गंजी चुड़ैल?
I love गंजी चुड़ैल. So yeah, I mean, I also like Ganji Chudel. That's also low-key horror. So yeah, it's.
But why do we love horror?
It could be firstly because we don't know enough about it, so we want to know more, and that's why we watch more, so that we get more information about it. And it could also be because it kind of puts our body into a fight or flight mode, which is what happens when some dangerous thing is happening around us, like if there's a bear in this room, we both will get scared, and our fight or flight mode will get started, and we will feel like flighting, like running away, or we'll get still and we'll get scared, like frozen basically, or fight. There's three things: fight, flight, or freeze. So when we watch horror movies, it scares us and it puts us in a dangerous zone, like psychologically, not really. There's no actual stimulus which is going to harm us. So that increases our adrenaline and serotonin, and it makes us stimulated, essentially. More energy goes into our brains, so then we feel excited, and maybe that's fun.
तो स्टिमुलेशन होता है, वो डर का भाव जो है वो एड्रेनलिन रश आपको कहीं ना कहीं देता है. So that is why we love horror as a genre.
That also not everyone. So that's why not everyone likes it. Not everybody wants to feel stimulated. Some people just they have a negative impact, so they don't like to watch horror. So it's not like सब लोगों को पसंद है.
अच्छा, मतलब जैसे अगर मुझे भी वो स्टिमुलेशन हो रहा है बट मुझे वो पसंद नहीं है, तो मैं नहीं देखूंगा.
It makes you uncomfortable.
Fair. हाँ, इंटरेस्टिंग. जैसे मुझे भी ऐसा लगता है कि ठीक है मुझे डर वर नहीं लगता, पर मुझे नहीं देखना. पर मेरा प्रॉब्लम है कि मुझे थोड़ा नेगेटिव फील होता है.
हाँ, वही. तो जैसे रोलर कोस्टर्स में भी यही होता है, कुछ लोगों को पसंद है वो स्टिमुलेशन, वो स्ट्रेस.
I love that.
Yeah. So it depends on the person.
हम बात कर रहे थे कि ये सडनली नहीं हुआ ये सब.
हाँ.
ग्रेजुअली हुआ है. ऑफ कोर्स कई क्राइम वाले भी शोज थे, कई भूतों वाले भी शो थे टीवी पे. आहट था, देन सावधान इंडिया, क्राइम पेट्रोल, वो सब
है.
हाँ, कोई है.
And then फिर कोई है.
Have you watched those shows?
Yeah.
Which one was your favorite?
The first part.
कोई है.
Yeah.
Love it. जितनी बार आप इसका नाम लेते हो फनी लगता है. कोई है. ये तेरा फेवरेट सीरियल कौन सा? कोई है. कहाँ है? हाँ, मेरी भी अब यही थोड़ी सी एक कंसर्न है कि मोस्ट ऑफ दीज पॉडकास्ट आर पासिंग ऑन these horror stories or their supernatural encounters as real stories. I really hope they are real, but I doubt.
They're not. I mean, I don't believe that they are real. Of course, I have not seen them go through it, so I wouldn't know if it's real or not. But from what I know, I have lived 27 years. I have never seen a ghost. Have you?
No.
So how is that possible?
Yeah. Yeah. I had a bad phase in a relationship which I would like to call horrifying. But other than that, no other horrifying
Yeah.
experience. But ये लोगों की भी एक किस्म होती होगी ना, टाइप होती होगी जिन्हें हॉरर पसंद है. कौन से ये लोग हैं?
I think people who don't know enough about it and they don't want to read scientific information about it. It could be because they don't know how to read scientific information. Like we're not taught about reading research papers in school. मतलब हम books पढ़ते हैं but हम research papers नहीं पढ़ते. It's a different thing. And जो random websites होती हैं जो 5 types of personalities that are more likely to be ghost type की चीज़ें होती हैं वो research papers नहीं होते. Research papers are written by academic scholars. तो इन लोगों को वो इन्फॉर्मेशन पता नहीं होती सो इट्स बिकॉज ऑफ लैक ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन और इट कुड ऑल्सो बी पीपल हु लाइक थ्रिल like I mentioned, some people like that stimulation, so they're more attracted to that stimulation. They want to feel stressed. It could be because they're used to being stressed. I mean, this might be oversimplification, but maybe they've been brought up in a way जब बहुत stimulation होता है उनके आसपास, like 5-6 siblings, 2 parents, दादा दादी सब लोग लड़ाई कर रहे हैं, so there's a lot of stress. So they're used to that stress and they kind of want to go through it again because it's familiar, not maybe good but maybe it's familiar.
Wow.
But this might be like an oversimplification.
That's a huge insight. That's a very
Yeah.
interesting insight as well.
Yeah.
इंडिया में एक और एंगल आ जाता है, धर्म का एंगल, जहाँ पर चलिए ठीक है हॉरर की बात नहीं हो रही है लेकिन एक सुपर नेचुरल एलिमेंट है. बहुत सारी ये ऐसी भी वीडियोस अब चल रही हैं जहाँ पर कि किसी ने अगेन किसी देवता को देखा, वहाँ जाके कोई क्योर मिल गया, या फिर अब रील्स पे बाय द वे देयर आर सो मेनी सो कॉल्ड लाइक दरबार्स और इंस्टीट्यूट्स और हीलिंग अकेडमीज विच क्लेम टू हील पीपल.
Yeah.
तो वहाँ पर मुझे लगता है बहुत ट्रिकी हो जाता है जब रिलीजन आ जाता है. क्या रिलीजन और साइकोलॉजी कभी मिडिल ग्राउंड पे आ सकते हैं?
They are not like opposites. For some people, religion is support. मतलब कुछ लोगों के पास real support नहीं होता, so they turn to religion. Religion for many people is faith, right? It's not about whether God exists or not. It's about believing in something that gives them hope, essentially, and strength. तो ऐसा नहीं है कि रिलीजन नहीं होता साइकोलॉजी में, पर ये नहीं है कि साइकोलॉजी ये बोलती है कि हीलर्स होते हैं. थेरेपिस्ट हम खुद अपने आप को हीलर्स नहीं बोलते क्योंकि मैं कौन हूँ, हाउ एम आई गोइंग टू हील समवन. द पर्सन विल हील देमसेल्व्स. आई विल जस्ट बी विद देम एंड हेल्प देम हील. आई विल नॉट बी द वन हीलिंग देम. एंड इस चीज़ में ये प्रॉब्लम है कि वो लोग अपने आप को बोलते हैं कि हम हीलर हैं. तो हु आर यू टू हील मी? यू आर ऑल्सो ह्यूमन बींग, राइट? हाउ आर यू गोइंग टू हील मी?
या बहुत सारे ऐसे धार्मिक स्थल हैं और कई स्टडीज भी बाय द वे हुई हैं. एक पुरानी स्टडी है जिसे मैं कोट करना चाहूँगा जो मेहंदीपुर बालाजी टेम्पल के ऊपर की गई थी स्टडी, जहाँ पर 100 केसेस को स्टडी किया गया था. इंटरेस्टिंग इंसाइट. सबसे पहले तो 80% लोग जो उस सैम्पल साइज में थे एजुकेटेड थे. 82% अर्बन डोमिसाइल था उनके पास. एंड मेजरली जो पेशेंट्स थे वो न्यूरोटिक थे 48% एंड 28% वो साइकोटिक्स. एक तो इसकी परिभाषा इनसे जानेंगे. But then the study says 1/4 of the patients who were mainly psychoneurotics showed improvement. तो पहले तो ये न्यूरोटिक और साइकोटिक क्या होता है?
न्यूरोसिस इज़ लाइक मूड चेंजेस जैसे डिप्रेशन, एनजाइटी, ये वाली चेंजेस को न्यूरोसिस कहते हैं साइकोलॉजी में. एंड साइकोसिस तब होता है जब व्हेन यू सी समथिंग व्हेन देयर इज़ नो एक्चुअल स्टिमुलस. मतलब अगर मुझे आप यहाँ पे एलिफेंट दिख रहा है या गोट दिख रहा है बकरी दिख रही है और वो है नहीं, तो दैट इज़ साइकोसिस. हेलुसिनेशंस, डिल्यूजन्स, ये यूजुअली बाइपोलर और स्किज़ोफ्रेनिया में होता है. So, and also I wanted to ask you, when was this study published?
Several years ago. This is a very old study. लेकिन मैं कुछ तो जो इंडिया के रिलीजियस प्लेसेस हैं उन पर रिलायबल एक स्टडी चाहता था. तो ये एक रिलायबल सोर्स से है. I'll put that source here, but it's very old. Let me just find that out. The year is like I remember जब मैं इसके बारे में पढ़ रहा था तो बहुत पुरानी थी.
ऊपर लिखा था.
It's really old. It's from 1981.
Exactly. तो उस टाइम पे एक तो साइकोलॉजी उतना ज़्यादा डेवलप नहीं हुआ था, तो ये रिसर्च पेपर्स में भी बहुत बायस होता था क्योंकि जो लोग वो रिसर्च कर रहे हैं वो भी इंसान ही है ना, तो दे आर गोइंग टू गो अकॉर्डिंग टू द कल्चर दैट इज़ अराउंड दैम. रिसर्च पेपर्स जब पढ़ते हैं वी हैव टू लुक एट द डेट एंड हु हैज़ डन इट. ऐसा बहुत बार भी होता है कि ऐसे धार्मिक लोगों ने ये फंड किया होता है टू शो दैट द रिसर्च इज़ प्रॉपर व्हेन एक्चुअली उन्होंने ऐसे 2 लोगों पे रिसर्च करी होती है. तो इट कुड ऑल्सो बी प्लेसिबो व्हेन यू आर सीइंग दैट पीपल गॉट बेटर. प्लेसिबो ये होता है कि वी फील लाइक वी आर गेटिंग बेटर व्हेन एक्चुअली कुछ हो नहीं रहा. सो इट कुड बी दैट पीपल अराउंड दैम सॉ did not see actual changes, but they were like, हाँ इसको better feel हो रहा है. तो it could be because of that.
तो यहाँ कई चीज़ें निकल के आई. एक तो गवर्नमेंट जितने भी रिसोर्सेज हैं उन्हें और स्टडी करनी चाहिए ऑफ दीज थिंग्स. तो आई थिंक दिस स्पेस नीड्स टू बी मॉनिटर्ड एंड कंट्रोल्ड, बिकॉज इतने ज़्यादा लोग यहाँ पर जाते हैं और हमें किसी सत्संग, किसी बाबा के बारे में तब ज़्यादा पता लगता है जब वहाँ कोई हादसा हो जाता है. जैसे हाथरस में एक बाबा के यहाँ पर जब बहुत सारे लोगों की मौतें हो गई, तो फिर जो लोग सुपर नेचुरल चीज़ों में बिलीव कर रहे हैं अंडर द गार्ब ऑफ रिलीजन, उस पर साइकोलॉजी का क्या टेक है?
So not just religion, anything that we believe as human beings, हम जिस चीज़ में थोड़ा भी बिलीव करते हैं, हम वो चीज़ को सपोर्ट करने के लिए और इन्फॉर्मेशन नोटिस करते हैं. जैसे कि अगर मैं बिलीव करती हूँ कि बटरफ्लाई सिर्फ ब्लू होती हैं, तो मैं जब बटरफ्लाइज ब्लू होती है आसपास ब्लू बटरफ्लाइज को ही नोटिस करूँगी. दिस इज़ कॉल्ड अ कन्फर्मेशन बायस एंड वी ऑल डू दिस. सो ये धीरे धीरे करके बढ़ता है मिक्स्ड विद कन्फॉर्मिटी. तो कन्फॉर्मिटी ये है कि हमको हमारे आसपास जैसे लोग हैं जो वो बिलीव करते हैं, हमको उनकी तरह बिलीव करना है. ये हमारी नेचुरल टेंडेंसी है जस्ट टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ द ग्रुप. आई मीन हमारा कल्चर भी कलेक्टिविस्टिक है, मतलब हमारी फैमिली से हम बहुत क्लोज होते हैं, तो वो जो बिलीव करते हैं हमको वो बिलीव करना है ताकि कॉन्फ्लिक्ट ना हो हमारे बीच में.
वाओ, जैसे आपको कोई गाड़ी लेनी होती है ना, जब आपके दिमाग में कोई एक गाड़ी होती है और फिर वही गाड़ी आपको सड़क पर दिखती है.
हाँ, एंड ये एल्गोरिदम के साथ भी होता है. जैसे अगर हम कुछ खरीदने के बारे में सोच रहे हैं और हमारे उस फीड पे रील आएगी, हम सोचेंगे कि एल्गोरिदम हमको बेच रहा है, बट इट कुड ऑल्सो बी कि हम नोटिस इसलिए कर रहे हैं क्योंकि हमने सोचा उसके बारे में.
So there are a lot of religious places. इनकी कई videos भी आई थी, and then I saw a lot of medical experts decode that. I don't know if I can find that reel. If I do, I will put it here. But there was again a doctor who was decoding what's happening to people there.
Yeah.
I think कहीं तो पहाड़ में कोई तो मंदिर था where a lot of people like shaking, shivering, and they claim that उनमें भगवान आए हैं.
Okay.
What's that?
So that's often a hallucination as part of schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. People often like this is a type of hallucination. उसके अंदर they believe कि they are God, or like it could also be they think that their thoughts are being controlled by a higher entity. ये सब disorder के symptoms होते हैं. This is not anything supernatural or superstitious. It's actually because of things happening in our brain.
Again, then there is hypnotherapists होते हैं, spiritual healers होते हैं, then you know these tarot readers, palm readers,
face readers,
handwriting readers, coffee readers. There are so many readers. Psychology इन सब में कितना मानती है? Like hypnotherapist या past life regression, कि आपकी पिछले जन्म की जिंदगी कैसी थी, उसका पता लगाने का एक तरीका है. इसकी कहाँ जगह है साइकोलॉजी में?
अगर हम बिलीव करते हैं कि हम क्योर हो रहे हैं बिकॉज ऑफ पास्ट लाइफ रिग्रेशन थेरेपी, देन वी माइट फील लाइक हो गया है, लाइक इट दैट यू गॉट बेटर, बट actually you didn't really work on your real problems, and you're just working on something that doesn't exist or you don't know about. So basically सबको banded solution चाहिए, because of course it's a lot of effort to work on your problems, right? Mental health problems are difficult to sit with, accept. हम accept भी नहीं करते, हम think positive बोलते रहते हैं, but negativity भी तो होती है ना ज़िंदगी में. Like there should be a balance. So basically हम denial में है कि it's going to take time. Like just like our problems took time to build up. एक दिन में किसी को डिप्रेशन नहीं होता, राइट? वैसे ही ये वाली चीज़ें भी, the thing is that these things are popular because they are telling people that you're going to get better in like a day or two. मतलब just spend 12 hours with me and मैं cure कर दूँगा. But that's not how it works. It's people's lack of patience and also understandably because they want to get better fast.
पर जैसे हिप्नोथेरेपी जैसी चीजें हैं, ये अपने आप को एक साइंस का भी नाम देती हैं, थेरेपी, या फिर देयर इज सम रूल टू इट और देयर इज अ थेरेपी टू इट, उसका भी नाम देते हैं. बट is it a sham?
That's also a sham in my opinion, my personal opinion.
But are there psychologists who support this?
There are some psychologists who support it. It's because there's so many psychologists in our country. There's going to be different types of people, and also a lot of clients ask for it because हमारे कल्चर में हम बहुत बिलीव करते हैं स्पिरिचुअलिटी में, एंड लाइक ऐसी चीज़ों से हम भी अट्रैक्ट होते हैं, एंड ऐसी चीज़ें दूसरे कल्चर्स में दूसरे नाम के अंडर होती हैं. सो जो लोगों को चाहिए वो उनको मिलेगा. सो थेरेपिस्ट हु वांट टू मेक मोर मनी मे बी, और दे डोंट नो हाउ टू कम्युनिकेट विद क्लाइंट्स, दे यूज दिस वर्ड एंड try to cure them. These are also therapists who think they can cure people. They are actually like healer type of people who don't know actually how to heal people.
लोगों को confusion इसमें भी बहुत होती है कि psychiatrist थेरेपिस्ट, साइकोलॉजिस्ट, इस सब का अगर आप डिफरेंस बता पाए.
तो साइकोलॉजिस्ट ये वाले लोग होते हैं जिन्होंने बैचलर्स और मास्टर्स मिनिमम करा होता है साइकोलॉजी में, मतलब दोनों डिग्री साइकोलॉजी में होनी चाहिए. एंड साइकाइट्रिस्ट आर मेडिकल डॉक्टर्स. दीज पीपल प्रोवाइड मेडिकेशन. दे ऑल्सो समटाइम्स डू थेरेपी. साइकोलॉजिस्ट only do therapy. They don't do medication. And both of them are legit mental health professionals, like by the government. They're recognized by the government. And a therapist is anyone who provides therapy. It could also be like an unqualified person, because if you're providing therapy, you're a therapist.
और ऐसे ही एक मामले में खुद को दिविजा ने भी पाया था जब वो कॉल आउट किया इन्होंने कुछ साइकाट्रिस्ट को, जिन्होंने कहा कि साइकोलॉजिस्ट के पास जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, समथिंग लाइक दैट, राइट?
Do we have to talk about
क्या?
Do we have to talk about
No, we can totally skip it.
Don't,
It's
I
fine.
got cancelled really hard. People misunderstood me.
I'll keep this part though, but I won't discuss
Yeah,
it further.
you can do this. No.
I won't discuss it further.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will not divert from our topic. Now let's also talk about astrology, tarot reading. Basically, वो mediums जो आपको बता रहे हैं कि वो future आपको बता देंगे. And I was reading an article which is about boom of astrology in Pakistan also.
Okay.
And of course it's an Islamic country. They look down upon it. और कई ऐसे religions हैं जिनमें of course astrology का एक बहुत बड़ा और अहम हिस्सा है. बट अगर पाकिस्तान में भी इतना बूम है, which I would like to believe कि ओवरऑल लोगों में बहुत ज़्यादा इंटरेस्ट आ रहा है अबाउट दिस. एंड उस आर्टिकल में लिखा हुआ था बिकॉज यू नो वी गॉन थ्रू इन अनसर्टेन टाइम्स, और उसमें पाकिस्तान के बारे में स्पेशली बात थी कि उनकी इकोनॉमी एक बुरे दौर से गुजर रही है, पॉलिटिकल टर्मोइल है, कोविड होके निकला है. सो देयर आर सो मेनी फैक्टर्स, अनसर्टेनिटी, एंड दैट इज व्हाई पीपल आर इंक्लाइनिंग टुवर्ड्स इट. एंड इंडिया में ऑफकोर्स हमारी हिस्ट्री का पार्ट रहा है, और अब मॉडर्न डे में there's so many mediums, like there's Vastu Shastra also, where people are recommending घर के इस कोने में ये मत रखिए. and to an extent मुझे फिर भी लगता है चलो ठीक है, मान लेते हैं कि इसके पीछे साइंस है या फिर रिसर्च है, but then 5 अगर मैं किसी वास्तुशास्त्र वाले को सुनता हूँ या देखता हूँ, 5 अलग बात बोल रहा है. so I don't know what's really happening. तो ये एस्ट्रोलॉजी, टैरो रीडिंग, पामिस्ट्री, इसमें भी एक there's a huge rise. Why do you think that is?
It's like you said, it's because we feel like we don't have control. Matlab, I think one of the main reasons is that we don't have control over our future, and that's the truth. We can control it to some extent, like using like some factors, but then we are not always in control of our life, right? Like there's so many things that happen जहाँ पे हम born हुए हैं, हमारे आसपास के लोग, हमारे parents, हमारी upbringing, ये सब हमारे हाथ में नहीं होता. So you can only control your life to some extent. And yeah, some people are able to break out of the problems that they have been brought up with or something, but बहुत सारे लोग नहीं कर पाते, so they turn to these things so that they feel like they're in control, when actually इससे कुछ होता नहीं है, in my opinion. It could be that for some people it works, but from what I have seen, it actually gives you a false sense of hope, and some people actually stop going towards the right direction because they get kind of lazy. Not lazy, but like they're like, हाँ वास्तु ऐसे करके रखेंगे अपने फर्नीचर को तो मेरा करियर बढ़ेगा, but then they won't go towards they won't work towards their career. So
that's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Like लोग अपने सोफे एडजस्ट कर रहे हैं बट अपने करियर में कोई काम नहीं कर रहे.
तो लोग करते हैं, and that is true, right?
That's funny. Okay, now let's admit, ठीक है, आपके हिसाब से आपने बोला कि ऐसी जो चीज़ें हैं उसमें आप बिलीव नहीं करती, सुपर नेचुरल चीज़ें में नहीं, घोस्ट में नहीं. Let's talk about God or that energy. Do you believe in God?
Are we really?
Does a psychologist believe in God is what my question is, Divija.
I personally don't believe in God.
Boom! Damn! Revelation. Why? I really want to discuss this. Please, because यार God is such an interesting topic. Because मैं अपने आप को ये बोलता हूँ कि हाँ यार मैं इन सब चीज़ों में नहीं मानता हूँ, but मैं spiritual हूँ. मैं भगवान में मानता हूँ या एक ऐसी दिव्य शक्ति में मानता हूँ which is controlling us. ये मेरा opinion है.
Yeah.
But I would love to know, why don't you believe in God? And yeah.
Because there is no proof. But also, like, so I am not like those people who want everyone to not believe in God. I am fine with, like, if you are spiritual, it's fine. Like I said, psychology mein religion hai, in the sense that there are people who believe in it. So I can't, like, if I have a client who is really religious, I'm not going to be like, don't believe in God, because it's giving them hope. If it's positive in their life, I think that's good. But actually religion की वजह से बहुत सारे लोगों की जिंदगी negative होती है. There's lots of examples. Can I give?
Yeah, sure.
For example,
You are going to get cancelled, not me.
No, this will not get me. I don't know. But like, for example, a lot of women are not allowed to stay in their bedroom or sleep on their bed or go to their kitchen on their period because religion says that they are impure or something like that, or they can't go to the temple. So I think that's unfair, and religion is being used to have a negative impact and control those girls. So मुझे religion इसीलिए नहीं पसंद.
वो तो maximum religions जो हैं, they are anti-women.
Yeah, all religions. Let's just be honest. All religions, not just Hinduism or something. This is prevalent in all. In fact, religion is often seen as a way to control people. मतलब people who are seen as like the messengers of God, and people who are the messengers of religion are actually the people who are using it to control people and control how they live. This is so unpopular. I'm going to get cancelled.
No. I agree with it. I honestly agree with it. I agree. But मैंने सवाल religion के बारे में नहीं किया था. I'm asking about God.
Okay. For me, religion is God. I make a difference between spirituality and
okay. So
religion.
Are you spiritual?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what. So why are you not spiritual?
Because
what is spirituality for you first?
That whole energy vibration thing, I don't really sorry, I have never seen it as a part of my life, in the sense my personal life मुझे कोई किसी से vibration नहीं आती. I believe in vibes, but vibes, not vibration.
Because I do, like, I believe, okay, yeah, there are, you know, spaces have energies, and you have an energy, and you can of course meditate and feel better types.
Meditation is not the same as spirituality.
Agree.
So I believe in mindfulness, but not meditation. Meditation is when it becomes spiritual. Matlab, I believe in like mindfulness is like sitting and being with yourself in the current state, and that calms you down for some people. So that I believe in, but I don't believe that there are vibes and I am like,
okay, I'm connecting to one supreme power.
Yeah, all that, I don't believe in that, because I haven't seen it as proof in my life, and I also don't feel the need for it. Matlab, I have been through bad things in my life, but I don't know, I just never gravitated towards these things.
Have you ever tried spirituality or connecting to that power or God?
How do you try? Is there an app?
As in, you sit and you're like, oh, I'm going to talk to this supreme power who might be controlling us, who's responsible to run this world the way it is running?
I didn't feel the need. I mean, if I have a problem, I am privileged enough to have a support system where I can talk to those people. I've always had friends who I could talk to, or like now my partner, my parents. I've always been able to talk to them. I didn't feel the need. I could get my answers and solutions either from them or from myself. And I think that's the reason. Maybe I haven't felt the need, or I'm just not like that as a person. Like, maybe I want to be more in control. Maybe this is too out of control for me. You know,
That's
you
really
can't
interesting,
control.
but I really want to know, was it always like this? Are your parents religious?
My parents are more religious than me.
Because usually I think for me, let's say, it comes from my parents. Like, they are very religious.
Yeah.
And usually for, I think, most of us, it comes from our parents. Because our parents are religious, you also start believing it. And as you grow older, then again, you start inclining towards what your parents used to tell you. So yeah, but do you have any influence of your parents? Or are they okay with this perspective? They are religious?
So I think that's the thing. My parents are very open-minded. They let me be myself. They are religious. Like, I remember my mother used to make me pray to God before bed every day. She would oil my hair and read me a book, and then I used to pray to God. So that way, religion was a part of my life, but I never like went to temple specifically and like pray to God after that. Like, once I grew up, she allowed, like, also like on Tuesdays she wouldn't eat non-veg because of religious reasons. But then once I grew up a little, I was like, I don't believe in all this, so I will eat what I want to eat when I want to eat it. So thoda bahut chik chik kiya hum dono ne, but then she was very open to it, like after the initial this thing. So I think because my parents are open-minded, in the sense they let me be who I am, as long as it's not negatively affecting me to a great extent. Actually, even then, I know they will support me even if I make mistakes. So I think that's a big thing in this aspect.
That's really nice. I'm so glad you said this because I have a lot of friends who don't believe in God. And there's one friend of mine who said something which really struck a chord. He said कि यार अगर भगवान है तो ये लोग क्यों struggle कर रहे हैं? And why is there pain? And we say this कि भगवान क्योर करता है, भगवान हमारी रक्षा करता है, तो क्यों मारे जाते हैं लोग सड़कों पे, क्यों कुचले जाते हैं लोग, या क्यों मर्डर्स क्यों हो रहे हैं? And I was like, yeah, यार. And then there is somebody else who's a firm believer. And I asked her, I said, yeah, there's this perspective. She's like, oh, no, but you have to have, balance. God believes in balancing it. And I was like, that doesn't add up well. Yeah. And I'm also confused. And again, मेरा यही perspective, again, मुझे भी ऐसा लगता है कि धार्मिक स्थलों पे खास तौर पर जब जाता हूँ तो मुझे वो सुकून शांति नहीं मिलती है. बट हाँ, अगर मैं खुद के साथ बैठता हूँ and then I say कि okay, I'll sit with my thoughts, pray to a supreme power, I feel better. So maybe in a way I'm spiritual. But yeah, I agree. कई जो आपने पहलू जिन पे टच किया कि यही वाली चीज़ें,
But it could also be that some people are religious because they are feeling good because they're around people at the temple. Matlab temples and like other religious institutions, they're not just negative, they also have a negative impact, which is really bad. But then for some, what they get out of it is not always spirituality, it's also support. Maybe they don't have anyone to talk to around them, so going there and just praying helps them feel less alone. And I think that's what the thing is, like we need to understand that डिफरेंट लोगों के डिफरेंट फेथ होते हैं एंड डिफरेंट ओपिनियंस होते हैं इस रिलीजन के बारे में. एंड एज लॉन्ग एज यू आर नॉट फोर्सिंग योर बिलीफ ऑन समवन, यू आर open, like it's great to be religious that way. Like you can be very religious, but as soon as you start stopping someone from being themselves, I think that's when it gets, and that's what the problem with religion is, because a lot of people use it, like I said, to control people.
Fair. Now हम भूतिया पॉडकास्ट की बात कर रहे थे, उसके कुछ comments I want to read. There's one comment which said I literally cried. Another one, sir मेरी लाइफ में भी कुछ ऐसा ही हुआ था. Then मुझे भी जाना है वो मेघालय वाले waterfall में. Then there's somebody who got offended because the host was saying real again and again, and they wrote, please stop saying real incident again and again. As a viewer, it feels like you're saying this to make a point, and it is not real. Also, incident only means real, which means this person is saying like, stop, bursting my bubble. Don't say real, because I'm taking it as real.
So that's what this person is actually forcing their belief on the YouTuber. Like they are like, my reality is my reality, your reality should also be my reality, and that's where it goes wrong. Like for example, the other person who said ye mere sath bhi hua tha, okay, that's great, you also went through that, that's not a problem. It's when those other type of people come and start forcing their beliefs.
No, but this person is also supporting what they're saying. That person is also taking it as truth, but is so I think religiously following it that person is feeling offended when they say it's a real incident.
That's what the offense is, the problem. Like I said, like you can believe what you want to believe, it doesn't matter, I'm not going to try to convince you, but this person is trying to convince the YouTuber that it is real, so you have to make sure that it sounds like that way.
But why I'm reading these comments is that there's a community being built, and very less क्या I saw no criticism. And जो जैसे मेरा इन सारे पॉडकास्ट को देख के सबसे पहला ये ख्याल आता था कि ये क्या हो रहा है, और there are so many people who are just also subscribers who are coming on that platform, and they are just sharing their horror stories, their supernatural experiences, and the so-called experts, मुझे नहीं पता उनके क्रेडेंशियल्स क्या हैं, वो कितने रिलायबल है. चलो मैं ये नहीं बोल रहा कि ठीक है आपकी जो स्टडी है मैं उसको डिसरिगार्ड नहीं कर रहा, ठीक है आपको लगता है आप सुपरनैचुरल वाले किसी स्टडी के आप डॉक्टर हैं, श्योर, बट शो मी द क्रेडेंशियल्स. इवन द पॉडकास्टर और द होस्ट शुड शो दैट. सो मैंने यही नोटिस किया कमेंट सेक्शन में भी कि लोग जम के सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं. देयर इज अ कम्युनिटी एंड दे फील कनेक्टेड एंड दे आर टेकिंग इट एज रियल. देयर इज वन पॉडकास्ट वेयर they are actually talking to supernatural powers in the studio also.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm like,
so
where does it stop?
This reminds me of some reel that I saw. Somebody had just posted some temple or something ki kuch rock had turned into a god figurine or naturally or something. उसमें लिखा था that you have to comment something related to God, like one sentence, and there were like thousands of comments in the comment section that XYZ whatever. And actually that creator is just capitalizing on people's beliefs, which is also wrong because मैं तुम्हारे वीडियो पे कमेंट करूँ भगवान के बारे में, how is that going to do anything? That's just giving you views. Those people are actually capitalizing on people's beliefs. Like even these YouTubers, maybe they're complete atheists and they don't believe in God at all, but they are just capitalizing on. They're getting monetized. They're getting money out of.
Maybe
this.
they don't also believe in ghosts.
Yeah, they don't believe in God or ghosts. They don't care. They're just making the video because they're getting money out of it. You get paid to make videos. So
या मुझे भी ये वाली रील्स बहुत फनी लगती है जिसमें लिखा होता है इस भगवान का नाम लिखो कृपा नहीं शुरू होगी. There is another kind of reel which is popular these days, which is they're putting QR code and again it is related to some religious event और ये है ये दिन में मैं ये करने वाला हूँ, please support. I don't know how many people are paying.
I'm sure a lot of people are paying because if you believe strongly in something and if somebody tells you that this is how you can support this thing, like a tangible thing, money, that's how charity in religious institutions works, right? So it's very easy. I'm sure those people are earning a lot.
भारत में सुपरस्टिशन बहुत चलते हैं, जैसे नजर लग गई और उसने कहा था तो ये हो गया. उसके पीछे की क्या वजह है?
So I actually made a video about nazar and how it's actually not nice. Like for example, if I got into a good college or like मेरी शादी होने वाली है, मैं किसी को बताऊंगी नहीं अगर मुझे, क्योंकि नज़र लग जाएगी. So actually nazar is stopping us from feeling happiness to the fullest extent. मतलब if you got into your favorite dream college बहुत सालों के hard work के बाद, your instinct is to tell people, right? Because I'm so happy, I want to share my happiness with others and they can, so they will also be happy for me. But nazar, it's like नहीं मेरे को किसी को बताना नहीं है. So you're actually not allowing yourself to feel happy with nazar. So I see it in a very negative way.
But फिर लोग ऐसा भी बोलते हैं कि यार मैंने तो ये एक्सपीरियंस किया, मैंने इसको बता दिया, फिर मेरा काम नहीं हुआ. और मेरे साथ तो हमेशा ऐसे होता है. There are so many people who believe कि जब मैं किसी को कुछ बता देती हूँ वो काम नहीं होता. Where is that coming from?
Confirmation bias. They are looking for those incidents कि हाँ नहीं हुआ तो इसीलिए nazar is real. When actually it's just a coincidence. Because nazar doesn't exist outside India in a lot of countries. Like you think that in New York City, maybe some people do believe in it, but like a lot of people.
Yeah, evil eye they say.
But that's like Turkish. Like that's also like brown people culture. it's brown people have this thing. So it doesn't exist for a lot of people and they're just.
You were saying अगर New York में?
हाँ, जैसे न्यूयॉर्क में जैसे कोई random influencer है वो तो नज़र में believe नहीं करती ना. Influencer, for example, influencers, we talk about our life, we talk about everything on the internet. If nazar was real, we would not maybe even exist by now because everyone is seeing all our accomplishments, achievements. We're talking about them.
But you know what? It's again really sad. But कोई बड़े couple influencers और काफ़ी ऐसे हैं जिनका रिलेशनशिप एंडेड अप इन डिवोर्स. उनके कमेंट सेक्शन में पता है सबसे ज्यादा क्या लिखा होता है? इन्हें नजर लग गई है.
बट दैट वुड मीन कि सारे फैमिली ब्लॉगर्स का डिवोर्स हो गया इंस्टेंटली. लाइक कैसे चल रहा है अभी तक?
मुझे तो लोग यही बोलते हैं कि मैक्सिमम लोगों का जैसे होता है तो जैसे कि वो देखो you know because you put out so much on social media that's why it has happened. But मुझे ऐसा लगता है because their life is on social media that's why you get to know about their divorces. Otherwise भी आपके आसपास भी जिंदगी में हो रहे हैं.
बहुत सारे लोगों का डिवोर्स होता है. I know so many people who are divorced but nobody, like they're not putting
creators.
it on social media. So but there are also happy people who are on the internet who are in happy relationships. उनके बारे में कोई कुछ नहीं बोल रहा. ऑपोजिट नजर कोई नहीं लिख रहा उसके बारे में.
No, superstitions के real life repercussions हो सकते हैं. I'm going to read out some headlines here. A 5-year-old boy suffering from cancer was forcibly dipped in the Ganga River on a chilly winter morning in January because parents believed that the holy dip is a magical cure which will treat him. The murder of a class 2 student for human sacrifice in Hathras, Uttar Pradesh. And then there is some Baba who cures people with hot iron rod. The 2-month-old girl was rushed to hospital after the healer pressed a red-hot iron rod on her chest and stomach to remove evil spirits. She remains in an intensive care unit.
Exactly. This is when supernatural turns into superstition and it turns into harm. That's what I mean. it's okay to believe, but then like, is it actually okay to believe? Because if it ends up like this, if that's the extreme end of things, then what's the point? Like, I saw a reel recently of some child who was made to walk on fire as good luck. ऐसा कुछ होता है ritual, and that child was walking and he fell, he tripped over the thing and he got burnt. Like half of his body got burnt because of superstition. And what's the point at the end of the day if it's harming people?
But then there's also an audience, Divija, which is hugely inclined towards gore, crime stories, मार धाड़, मार काट, blood. वो कहाँ से आ रहा है?
That's interest, like they're getting a kick out of it, that adrenaline rush. For some people, they enjoy it. I don't. Like, I get nightmares when I watch something like this. If it's too gory, like, I like it to some extent. So that's what everybody's definition of gore, what is acceptable gore, is different.
There's a news headline which says watching and enjoying true crime series is a major red flag, warns psychologist. And I'm quoting the psychologist here. I'm telling you the name. Dr. Thema Bryant appeared on the Mel Robbins podcast. Wow, this is also on a podcast. Speaking to host Robbins, she revealed that those who watch and listen to violent media may do so because the trauma is familiar to them.
Again, it depends on the person. With psychology, that's the thing. Like, not everything can apply to everyone. So this statement is a red flag in my opinion, because a lot of people like horror movies. Are all of them psychopaths or whatever? No, that's not true.
But is it fine to watch gory content?
It's fine. Like,
by gory content, we don't mean fair content, but we mean like gore.
Okay. It's okay to watch gory and gory content. It's okay to watch all colors of content, not just gory. But
it's okay, right?
It's okay.
It's not a red flag.
It's not a red flag. I think this red flag thing is also getting out of control. We'll talk about this later. But people can like gory content. It doesn't mean that they are criminals or something, because real criminals are performing the gory stuff out there. They're not watching.
But उसमें भी क्यों मजा आ रहा है? वही same logic ना, adrenaline rush.
But it's not just maza, right? I mean, do we really know if criminals get a kick out of it, or are they doing it for like other reasons?
No, I'm saying जो लोग देख रहे हैं, उन्हें क्या मजा आ रहा है?
That's what I
same
said.
Thing, right?
Adrenaline rush.
वही same logic जो हम भूतिया content देख के कर रहे हैं. But you said you get nightmares.
Yeah.
सपनों को भी डिकोड किया जाता है एज कि ये आपकी जिंदगी के बारे में कुछ बता रहे हैं. हाउ ट्रू इज दैट?
दैट्स नॉट ट्रू. जिंदगी के बारे में, जिंदगी इन द सेंस लाइक डेली लाइफ एंड योर लाइफ हिस्ट्री, इट माइट लाइक मेमोरीज की एसोसिएशंस होती है हमारे दिमाग में. तो मे बी ड्यूरिंग द डे I was in the metro and some person was wearing a red dress, and that red dress reminded me of my mother on her birthday 10 years ago. So I might get a dream about this, but it's because of the associations. It doesn't mean anything. Like, you can't really like take out meanings out of your dreams in the sense that one thing means something else.
What triggers in our brain that we get dreams?
It's the triggers are daily life things. So like I said, certain memories, they lead to a trigger of other memories, and then that's how a dream is
But
formed.
why do we get it like when we are sleeping is what my question is. How is this the right question, or is it too lame of a question?
No, it's not lame. It's a little too high level. Let me think. I don't know. I don't think scientists know why we have dreams. Like,
but dreams don't mean anything is what you're saying.
they mean something in the sense that, yeah, it reminded me of my friend, and maybe I had forgotten that friend, and maybe I'm missing her now because it reminded me of her. But it doesn't mean something like I had a dream about my ex, so I love my ex. You know, like.
और अगर आपने चूहा देखा तो पैसे आएंगे, ऐसे भी लॉजिक्स होते हैं.
That's what we can't jump to conclusions with dreams. Dreams are like about memories, more about memories and less about meaning. Meaning comes from the memories. I hope it's not confusing.
We'll put a flow chart. Cool, thank you so much. Just in the end, I want to wrap this with कि जो लोग हॉरर पॉडकास्ट सुन रहे हैं, देख रहे हैं, बना रहे हैं, हमने डिस्कस कर लिया कि ठीक है, कितनी रियलिटी है, डाउटफुल है, लेकिन क्या पता वो लोग ऐसे भी हैं जिन्हें पता है कि हाँ यार ये रियल नहीं है पर मज़ा आ रहा है तो हम देखेंगे. ये है.
I mean, sure, there's a lot of people who harmlessly watch this, but I think इनका percentage बहुत कम होता है. And also a lot of people who don't believe in it might start believing in it because bias because they'll see more of it and they'll be like, oh, I know more about this means it exists. And अगर एक और भी चीज़ है, अगर बहुत सारे लोग बिलीव करते हैं तो सच होएगा. Like we have this notion, right? जब सारे लोग बोल रहे हैं तो ठीक ही बोल रहे होंगे, उन्होंने कुछ तो रिसर्च करी होगी बट नहीं करी होती, किसी ने नहीं करी होती. सो एक्चुअली the power is in one person. If one person starts speaking up against these things, then more people will slowly start supporting, and फिर it'll end.
It is this podcast. It's a reply to a lot of these Bhutiya podcasts.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? But what are the repercussions? Are there any real life repercussions of this culture? Because मेरे feed पे तो बहुत आता है ये, और शायद फीड पे ना भी आए, बट जब मैं बड़े यूट्यूबर्स या बड़े पॉडकास्टर्स की फीड पे भी जा रहा हूँ, उनके चैनल पर जा रहा हूँ, उनके मोस्ट वॉच्ड वीडियोस यही वाले हैं. दैट इज व्हाई आई सॉ इट एज कंसर्निंग थिंग. व्हाट आर द रियल लाइफ रेपरकशंस ऑफ इट?
आई एम ग्लैड यू आस्क्ड दिस क्वेश्चन बिकॉज इट्स नॉट जस्ट ये फनी और लाइक हॉरर गंजी चुड़ैल टाइप ऑफ रेपरकशंस. इट्स ऑल्सो people actually turn this into stigma. I mean, like it becomes stigma against mental health disorders because actually supernatural things, like I said, these are often symptoms of a disorder. And villages में and also modern society में educated लोग भी अगर उनके loved ones are experiencing hallucinations or something, they might start thinking माता चढ़ी हुई है or like they are possessed, when actually they need medical support, they need medication, and they need to go to a psychiatrist. So they will not get the help that they need, and that happens. I've seen videos of people, forget videos, when I was a kid I was doing an internship at a hospital, and this person came from a village, and she said her sister was experiencing hallucinations, and उन्होंने उसको झाड़ू से मारा था to remove her possession when actually she needed medication. So people who are struggling are getting hit by jhadu, they're like being isolated. It's actually having really bad consequences for people who are struggling. And the thing is, we don't hear about this because everyone who has a disorder is usually pushed away in the society or like just locked into a room in the house or something, or sent to a hospital where it's like away from the city. So we don't hear about this, but these are actually, it's really sad. So this is not just funny or like, oh, views mil rahe hain. They don't realize it that the videos that these people are making, it's leading to more struggle and more stigma.
I also read it somewhere कि जो mental health issues होते हैं उनके cultural symptoms होते हैं. जैसे इंडिया में हम ये कह देते हैं कि इनमें कोई दिव्य आत्मा आई है, माता आई है, या भगवान से इनका कनेक्ट हो गया है, भूत आ गया इनमें. और बाहर जहाँ पर रिलीजियस थॉट्स बहुत ज़्यादा लेट्स से फोर फ्रंट पर नहीं है, या रिलीजन डिक्टेट नहीं कर रहा उनकी लाइफ को, दे वुड से यूएफओ दिखता है और थिंग्स लाइक दोज. इज इट ट्रू कि कल्चरल सिम्टम्स होते हैं मेंटल हेल्थ इश्यूज के?
Yeah, this actually reminds me of a disorder or a syndrome that's quite common in India called Dhatt syndrome, where men feel that they get really anxious and even depressed, matlab proper clinical depression, because they're scared of losing semen. It's called Dhatt syndrome, and this is in close connection to Hindu spirituality and the notion that semen is like a really important fluid in our body and we shouldn't let go of it. And if you think about it, this is a very small statement to hear, like that it's an important fluid in your body, but that actually translates into this, that people feel anxious, like they get really anxious that they'll lose semen during
talk to gym people about it.
Yeah,
there's a huge myth in that industry as well.
I think it's quite similar to this.
Yeah, where a lot of gym experts have said there's no connection. I mean, of course, I'm sure, again, as you said, it's a vital fluid, and I'm sure there is some hormonal,
it's no, but there's nothing wrong with losing the fluid. Like, it's a part of your body, and
while you are working out,
it's like spit is important in our body, but it's fine if you lose it. It's like that. So
right. So mental health issues have cultural symptoms.
A lot of symptoms that we experience are related to our culture, like how we see anxiety here, how a person experiences anxiety here will not be the exact same as what maybe a white person might experience.
So what do you want to tell all those podcasters who are doing a lot of Bhutiya podcasts? Any message?
Source.
Source क्या है?
Trust me, bro.
My sources trust me, bro.
Yeah, it is that is literally their source.
There was one. It's so funny. एक podcast में मैं देख रहा हूँ, वो बंदा बोलता है कि मैं फलानी जगह पे था, आप गूगल करके देख लीजिएगा, वो सच में गाँव है. So I was like, wow, the way he plays with the minds is कि मैं ऐसे रैंडम बात बोल रहा हूँ, उसमें मैं बोल दूँ आप गूगल करके देख लीजिएगा, ये गांव का नाम है. जैसे ही मैंने ये बोल दिया, एकदम से व्यूअर को लगेगा ओ इसने बोला गूगल करके देख लीजिए गांव का नाम, और हाँ गांव का नाम है रियल, एकदम से वो वाला फील आ गया ना. बट ऑब्वियसली गांव का नाम ही तो तुम बोल रहे हो फैक्ट चेक करने के लिए. व्हाट इज द रियलिटी यू आर एडिंग टू इट, एंड आई वाज लाइक वाओ, दैट इज हाउ दे मैनिपुलेट.
They make it seem like they're legit.
I hope a lot of people understand that it is not legit. If you're watching it for leisure, for fun recreation,
That also might turn into belief. So
I agree.
try to avoid supporting such things.
Thanks, Divija, for saying this. With that, we've come to an end of this podcast. Divija, thanks a lot for being so insightful and also risky.
I hope it doesn't.
No, but I really wanted to get somebody who would call a spade a spade. Because मैंने इस podcast के बारे में सोचा out of concern. Because this entire landscape of Indian podcast is turning towards this bhutia culture, which I think I saw in news culture also. There was a time, do you remember?
Yeah.
Swarg ki CD.
Yeah.
और ये मूर्ति दूध.
I saw a really popular newspaper that everybody has in their house. This newspaper had an article which said types of personality disorder you might have according to your horoscope.
What?
It's
What are you saying?
really weird, questionable article.
This is a national daily which is linking mental health disorders and issues with
Astrology and horoscope.
And anyway, ये जो जितने भी listicles होते हैं ना कि ये 5 symptoms अगर आप में है तो you have a personality disorder, they are really alarming.
Yeah.
But please keep debunking those. And thanks for coming on this podcast. I hope people get answers to it, and I hope we get to have a similar kind of chat again.
Thank you for having me. This was really nice. I'm glad you're talking about this and not being like those other people.
Goodbye.